And we're going to start on lesson 15, problem set, on page 1, F36. Number 1A says 5 divided by 2. 5 tenths divided by 2. So we start out by writing 5 tenths. Divide it by 2. So right now I have 9 lines on my table. How many will I need? How many spaces am I going to need to answer this question? 5. Am I going to need 5? I'm going to need 2 because I'm dividing by 2. So if I were you, the first thing I would do, if you have a table like this, which you will soon, is to just go in and cross out the ones I'm not going to use. Because this reminds me, or I could even just do this and make a thicker pen here. There we go. Oh my goodness. I don't want that big. Whoa. That's called the mammoth. There we go. So I'm just going to, this is like my dry erase mark. I'm just going to take that and color that line in. That way I know. Why do you think I have these boxes down below so thin? Why are they so thin? Okay. What's the most amount of dots I'm going to put in those? The biggest amount of dots? No? No? 10. Because once I hit 10, I'm going to go to the next column, right? So I can't put 10 or more because that's not the way it works. But I do need a lot of space in the top because I might have to take one number and move it to the right. So we have 5 divided by 2. So what's the first thing that I need to do in this problem? The very, very first thing. Turn to your neighbor and tell them quickly. Okay, everybody, what did your partner say? So we're going to add 5 dots. I'm going to make my pen thin again. That's still not very thin. Let's try this one. So I have 5 dots. Now what do I need to do? Turn to your neighbor and tell them. Okay, number 16. What you and your neighbor discuss? What'd you come up with? What'd you just talk about? So you're going to circle 2 dots. So for every 2 dots, I do a circle. Look kind of like pig snouts. I didn't even know I was being an artist. So how many circles do I have up there? How many green circles do I have? So I was able to make 2 groups of 2, right? So what do I put down below then? Maybe paying attention. So I have 2 groups of 2, right? If I had one group of 2, I would put 1 below, right? I have a problem though. And I see my little Einstein Jr., who's following in her predecessor's steps, number 24. What do I need to do? Okay, so I have this extra one here. I can't forget about that. So I'm going to move over. But you can't just say that 1/10 is equal to 1/100. That's like when you have a dime. That'd be like saying 1 dime equals 1 penny. That doesn't work, does it? How many pennies equal 1 dime? 10 pennies equal 1 dime. So therefore, if I take a dime and break it into pennies, I am breaking up 10. Let's do this again. There we go. Remember, I've been saying that the easiest way for me to do this is just make sure I have 5 on each row. Okay, because if you have 5 on each row, then, you know, that's just how you've always done it, and you don't have to worry about continuing to count and count and count. So now what do I need to do? Number 26, what do you think? Sorry, I couldn't hear you. Okay, put the dots in the line below, but how do I know how many to move down below? What number am I dividing by? 2. So how many will I have in each circle that I draw? 26. How many of my pink dots will I have in each circle I draw? 2, because I'm going to take this whole number and divide it by 2, right? I'll do 2. Now, how many green circles do I have up there? Number 5. I have 5 green circles. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So how many circles are going to be on each row below? 5. Because I look at my circles above, I have 5 circles. That means I'm going to have 5 on each row. So if I were to take that number, look at it this way, if I were to take that whole number and divide it into 2 equal parts, here's 1 whole part, here's another whole part. How many do I have in each part? 7. In each part? Well, I have 7 total, but how many tenths do I have? You have 2 tenths and 500. So I have 2 in that part, and I have 5 in this part. And don't forget your little handy-dandy decimal all the way down. So raise your hand if you can tell me what 5 tenths divided by 2 equals. $2,500. Yes, ma'am. Yeah, you can open it if you'd like. Yes, ma'am. If you had Mhm.
Since you can add how many zeros you want, what if you added 2 zeros? Then your answer down there would have to be 250,000 instead of 2,500.
Mhm. But would that be the same as 2,500?
Yeah.
Yep, because you could always take the 0 off, can't you? That's a good question. Very good question. Well, let's look at this the other way. They call this a standard algorithm. So if I were to divide 2 into 0, how many times does 2 go into 0, number 17? 0 times. 0 times 2, everybody? Does McDonald's serve cheeseburgers? Don't forget. What do I do? Bring down the 5. But first, I have to check. Is 0 bigger than 2? No. Bring down the 5. Now, don't write down what I write, because I want to show you what happens when you don't check, okay? Don't write down what I write. I'm showing you a common mistake people make. So I'm going to say 2 goes into 5 one time. 1 times 2 is 2. Well, I can't have a remainder, so I'm going to add my 0 and bring it down. How many times does 2 go into 30? What do you think? 15 times. How would I write the number 15 up on top? Could I do that? No. That means somewhere I put the wrong number. I didn't check my work. But what if I do it this way? Obviously I did something wrong. So how many times does 2 go into 5? Everybody? 2 times. 2 times 2 is? 4. I didn't bring my 5 down. 4. 5 minus 4 is? 1. I added my 0 because I can't have remainder anymore. We're in 5th grade. You can't do remainders. That doesn't work anymore. You know, in the past, you used to get to say R so much, but not in 5th grade. 5th grade, you can't do remainders. And that's the way it's always been. That's the way it will always be. So, what do I need to do now, everybody? Bring it on down. Was 1 bigger than 2? No. That means that any question I have now, any number I have, the maximum number it will be is 9. It can't be anything bigger. So how many times does 2 go into 10? 5 times 2? Did I get the same answer as I did on the other one? Yep. Yes, ma'am. You not like to be on the mic? Finally. Okay, let's look at the next problem. I'm going to have you guys solve this one using the dots first. 5 7/10 divide by 4. So start with your dots. Start with your dots. And I'll be coming around to look and see how you're doing on that. So if I take a number and divide by 2, how many dots are going to be in each circle? Everybody? 2. So for every 2 dots, you circle them. If I divide a number by 5, how many dots will be in each circle? 5. 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, and the cheese stands alone. So everybody, if I divide a number by 4, how many am I going to circle? 4. Think of it like messed up bowling balls. So if I divide this number by 4, how many numbers are going to be in each dot? Or how many dots are going to be in each circle? If I divide it by 4, okay, and I'm going to look, and how many lines below do I need? Everybody, how many lines below do I need? 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm just going to get rid of this 1. I think this is going to be big. It is big. I think it's like one great big unibrow. I'd hate to meet that person because that's scary stuff. So how many dots do I start with? We need to be looking because I'm going to expect to see lots of growth when we take that STAR math test on the 30th. Okay, I'm going to start with 5 dots in the ones. Make sure your paper looks like this. And how many will I start with in the tenths? Seven. Now remember, I like to do 5 in each row. That helps me do something that works for you. 1 in each row probably wouldn't work because you would be using like the whole paper, you know. But whatever works for you. So how many dots are going to go in my circle? I have 4 that I'm dividing by. 4. 4 dots in each circle. So I'm going to do this. Do I have 4 dots? Now you guys need to be really careful when you're writing because I see a lot of you like going over one of your dots and then what just happened? You lost the number, didn't you? So keep them spaced out far enough that you can draw your circle and still not go over the neighbor. Because when you run over the neighbor and you flatten him out, your number is going to get smaller, and it will be wrong. Is there any way that you could possibly get the answer wrong by doing it this way? No. So if you're clicking in the mornings and you're missing all the questions, do it this way. So how many red circles do I have? 1. I have one group of 4, right? What do I do with my extra dot? What do I do with my extra dot? Let me get sneaky here. Number 18. What do I do with my extra dot?
You take the extra dot and you have to count it as 10 and put it over in the 10.
Okay, because I look at like a dime that I'm breaking into pennies, and when you do that, it goes into 10 pieces, right? That'd be kind of hard to do, break a dime into 10 pieces. I don't know if that'd work for me or not. So in all reality, what do I have in that blank now? What do I have? 17. Visualize the problem that you're doing. Visualize it in your head right now. If we have what's the first thing you'd ask yourself? How many times does 4 go into 5? Once. Is that what we got here?
Yes.
Yeah. But when we multiply, of course I did it way too far down. Let's try it over here. So I'm using my unibrow thing right now. 4 times 1 is 4, and you subtract it, and then what do? You check to make sure it's not bigger than 4, and then what do? Everybody? So do I end up with 17 here, just like I ended up with 17 in the tenths? Yeah, it's the same exact. Now what do? I move that circle out. Now I'm in the tenths place. Now what do? Number 13. What do? Okay, I circle every. There you go. Perfect. So I'm going to go up here. I'm going to circle 4. I'm going to circle 4. Circle 4. Do you guys see where neatness might be important on this? Circle 4. Boy, that one looks kind of like an elephant. It's like abstract. You got the feet of the elephant and the trunk. How many sets of 4 do I have right now? Number 4. So how many dots am I going to put in each line? Number 4. Okay. And they're not usually that big. The elephant just splatted a couple of our little dots there, I think. Am I done? Man, what do I have left? But I don't have anything there. So what do? Go ahead. Draw 10 dots. Now what do? 16. Now what do? Okay, so I'm going to group them in groups of 4 and then see if I have to carry them. There's 4, there's 4. Can I do any more? So number 25, what's going to go down below? Big dots. Look like we got the measles. Now what do? Number 13. Now what do? 13. So if I move 2 dots over, how many total dots am I moving? Do you know? 20. Good job. You guys are rocking it. Now what do? 15. Okay, circle every 4. There's 1, there's 1. There's 1. Oops, I just went over one of my dots. That's how quickly it happens. Make sure you don't do that. So now I don't have nice little dice looking things. I have blobs. So how many blobs do I have up there? Number 7? 11. Ooh, that's right. 7-Eleven. I never thought about that. That was good. I have 5. So my answer would be 1. And how many dots do I have? 400. How many? 20. How many? 1 and 425 thousandths. Let's try that. Some of you are having a hard time with the division problem. Everybody, how many times is 4 going to 5? 1 times 4? Subtract. Check. Is it okay? Yes. Now what do? Bring down 7. Don't forget to put your decimal up there before you keep going. How many times is 4 going to 17? 4 times 4. 16. Subtract. 1. Can I have a remainder in 5th grade? No. What do I need to do, everybody? Add a 0. Bring it down. How many times is 4 going to 10? 2 times 4? 8. 2. Oh, I've got another problem. What do? Add another 0. Can I add as many zeros as I want? Yes. Yeah, but I don't want to add 1 each time to make sure I don't have a remainder. So I bring down a 0. What do I have now? 20. How many times is 4 going to 20, everybody? 5 times 4? 20. 20 minus 20? 0. Okay, I'll keep that up there for anyone who had a hard time with that. Here's your assignment. Once I am done giving you your assignment, you may go to your MTSS groups. We just did, guys, listen up. You shouldn't be moving around to get your stuff ready yet. Otherwise, you're going to miss the directions. Your assignment is problem set from lesson 15. So you're going to do problem set 2, A, B, C, E. If you're having a problem with the division, make sure you keep adding your zeros. You're going to do problem set number 3. Make sure you use your tape diagram. I hear a lot of chatting. It's probably the same people who keep coming up after I give directions and ask me what the directions are. And then you're going to do the exit ticket, the ET phone home, number 1. Then you're going to do homework one A and 2 A, B, C, and E. That is it. You'll find it won't take you that much time at all. Once you have the assignment written down, you may go to MTSS.